I want to welcome Mr. Raj Bhat. Raj is part of the Wadhwani Foundation. He's the practice head for entrepreneurship education at the Wadhwani Global University. He's also an engineer and he's got an MBA. Raj is a techno entrepreneur. Can you hear? But yeah, so no problem, Raj. You broke up there for a second, but I think with that introduction, Raj, I'm going to hand over to you, and we'll please send your Q&A via the chat, and then we will have a session afterwards, and you can ask Raj some direct questions. So, Raj, with that, over to you.
Okay, thank you. So, good afternoon, good evening, good afternoon, I guess, for you guys. Good evening for me. It's always wonderful to, talk to entrepreneurs or people who want to be entrepreneurs on this topic. This topic is slightly, I have taken the liberty of, kind of adding something more to what was actually being planned as, the session today. The reason I thought it was appropriate is because there will be a lot of questions on everybody's mind as to, how the COVID-19 situation has affected all of us. And let us be honest with everyone, is it has affected everyone, so that nobody's been unaffected. Some have been affected positively. I mean, there are some business models that have really gone through the roof, like specialty chemicals or pharmaceuticals, and I mean, they never thought that they would people manufacturing masks and PPE kits and healthcare services providers. For them, the business model has completely changed. But that's on a positive side. But there's also a lot of businesses that have undergone fundamental changes because of this corona. So I'm going to also dwell on that to a certain extent. Okay, to give me a quick background, I have about, you can say now, almost 25 years of experience, 15 years as an entrepreneur myself. I started a very early stage internet company right in 1995 in India, and grew it up. We went through the 99 2000, what is called as the dot-com burst, survived that, grew it up, successfully exited it, and now I'm almost 10 years with the foundation talking about entrepreneurship. So I have a fair bit of experience. I've also traveled a bit in Africa, so I think I can get a feel of the flavor of Africa, things over there. But it's too early for me to call myself an expert on the African continent business models. So probably what I'm going to talk today may seem slightly out of context, but I believe that it's not so much different than what it is. It's primarily, yes, maybe Indian, Asian related things that I'm going to talk about, but try and get the grain of what I'm going to talk to you about over here. Okay, so let us start by let us start by what I define entrepreneurship as, or what I picture entrepreneurship as. And most of you would agree with this depiction that entrepreneurship is actually riding a lion. Okay, so for the outside world, you look like a very brave guy. You look like a guy who's breaking the mold, who's kind of independent, who's going to change the world. Everything is fine. So you look like a hero actually, because who rides a lion. But at the end of the day that well, this is riding a lion. If you slip and fall down, you're not so sure what the lion will do next. So every day, you know, it's good. I mean, it's celebratory in nature. You are kind of considered to be a local hero. People look up to you, people come and talk to you, shake your hands. People also admire the fact that you have chosen a different path when it comes to your life goals. But at the end of the day, it is still, you know, riding a lion. So what is it that, you know, we do in entrepreneurship? Let's put it this way. Okay, what is it that we do? We look at delivering value, not only simple value. We look at delivering outstanding value, of course, to a very specific segment, our target segment. Every one of us has a certain amount of customer profile. We don't try to, you know, I mean, I don't think anybody in today's world really tries to sell everything to everyone. I mean, you know, we are not a one size fits all kind of a mindset, because we know as entrepreneurs we have our specific identified target segment, and of course we do it efficiently so as to maximize the profits, which is what I think is the goal that we all set for ourselves. Okay, but at the end of the day, what we are delivering is outstanding value. That in itself is a very core definition of what we actually do. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to skip this part a bit. Okay. So let us look at, you know, how we have evolved over the years for time, you know, because that's a thing which we need to understand, that what has changed for us. Some of us have been able to realize that, you know, things have changed. Some unfortunately live with a typical, you know, sand buried, you know, head buried in the sand kind of a scenario. Some of us can make sense of the changes that are happening around us. Some of us can't. Okay, and we are kind of stuck. Typical, you know, response that every entrepreneur, if you're going to ask him, is things aren't as good as it was earlier. Okay, so everybody likes to believe that the past was better, and the current situation is difficult, and the future is uncertain. Okay, so like I said, riding the lion is good, but this is what we end up expecting. So for a lot period of time, actually people bought products the way it was told to them. You know, I mean, you could create an advertising, what is called as the industrial advertising complex scenario. That means you take enough number of advertising, and then, you know, then try to hammer it down to your target customer, and hammer it till the customer starts believing what that communication is. And life was very simple, because all that you had to do was get somebody's attention. So you look at these ads. I mean, do you think you would have ever thought that Coca-Cola was positioned for, you know, headaches and exhaustions? Or Listerine, you know, the famous Listerine was for children's ringworms. Okay, so things were very different in the past, and this is not a very long past. It's like fairly a recent past. Okay, but somewhere down the line, I think we have reached this kind of a scenario. Okay, that means whenever we go into departmental store, how many brands of, you know, let us take shampoo for that matter, a simple product. It doesn't take a lot of technology to make a shampoo, or a soap for that matter. Okay, how many brands do we have? Absolutely infinite. Okay, in terms of uh, sheer numbers. Okay, and you don't really know what it is, because advertising has now stopped working, because everybody is advertising, everybody is there on the shelf, everybody. So those 4 P's of marketing that you actually thought, or I don't know if you been through the course on classical marketing, which told you about, you know, product, price, promotion, place. If you get it right, you know, you're on your way to success. But that doesn't seem to work right now, because every product looks exactly like the product which is next on the shelf. Okay, so we have kind of reached a saturation point where we can't even where even advertising, or for that matter shouting the loudest, is also not going to work. So you see, I mean, how many I mean, there's a very simple test that you can do is just watch your favorite television show for some time, and at the end of the show, just write down the ads that you have seen during the program and see if you can recall them. Honestly, I can't recall them, and I checked with a lot of my friends, and they say, no, I don't know what. I mean, I saw an ad, but I don't remember what that ad is. So advertising has stopped working. Communicating directly to your customer has stopped working. So what has changed? And this is of course led to some spectacular product failures. Okay, and these failures are by multi-million dollar companies who could afford to have this failure. So whether it's a Google Glass or an Apple Newton that you see on the right, or you see the Motorola satellite phone, or you see the famous entrepreneur called Dean Kamen and the Segway. Okay, Segway was supposed to be a phenomenal product at the end of the last millennium. So somewhere in 99, 2000, Dean Kamen, the guy you see on the Segway, is a prolific inventor. He is the Elon Musk of that times, you could say a prolific inventor. And he raised about close to, I think, about $200 million. And his investors were as famous as Bill Gates and Steve Jobs. And look at the product that came out, a spectacular. So Segway, I don't know if you've seen it. And for those who are interested in, maybe can go and look up the spectacular failure of Segway, why it is, and we don't want to discuss that right now, is the fact remains that millions of dollars lost in building products that nobody wanted to buy. Okay, so that is what is killing, and that could be disastrous for startup or growing stage entrepreneurs like yourselves. That what if you end up building something that nobody wants to buy? And that exactly is what we are going to discuss today. So what is it that people are buying? What is it that, how do I make sure that what I want to do is something someone is going to pay for that, and I'm going to be profiting immensely from that. So what is it that we are doing it? Okay, so something changed. Like I said, I don't know. I mean, there is no specific date on which things changed. So it's not like the 1st of January of 2010 or something, but somewhere not very far away in the past, some things changed, and we didn't know about it. We didn't know, and this was like it just happened. Okay, and this is what got people worried. Okay, as to what do I do? How do I make sure that whatever I'm going to deliver to my customer has that same value, and it's not lost on the aisles of the supermarket? And what is it that prevents me from being one of the products into the market? Okay, so I'll start by making a very controversial statement, if you want to say it, is or maybe some of you may not agree with me on this statement, and that statement is called as people have stopped, or rather customers have stopped buying products and services. Okay, people don't buy them, they just hire them. I don't know if you understand the concept of hiring. Is we take it for a very temporary purpose, but we don't really own it, or we don't have the same love. When we were growing up, and about 30-40 years back, maybe Charles can resonate with it. When we were growing up, I mean, if we had a television in our house, and it would be there for about 8 years, 10 years. I mean, till it completely broke down. I don't think anybody, changed their television sets. Or for that matter, if somebody had a car, I mean, I have known friends. Of course, we couldn't afford a car when we were growing up, but I had friends who had the same car for about 20 years. The same model, and it served them perfectly well, and people used to love to own the products. They were, very uh, proud of the fact that they have this particular product with them. But somewhere down the line, I think today, what do we do? I mean, we just change mobile phones I'm told every 18 months. We change our car probably every 3 to 5 years. We change our television sets every 2.5 years. And why do we do that? I mean, is it that, something, the earlier one was not working or something like that? Or is there a more deeper reason? And we're going to spend some next 5 minutes, talking about this concept that I just put, that people are no longer buying products and services, they are merely hiring them. Okay. So this concept came from a very famous statement by Professor Theodore Levitt, who said that people pay for a quarter-inch hole and they don't pay for a quarter-inch drill bit. So what this means is, whatever tools you use, okay, people aren't going to be, paying you because you're using, a particular tool or a diamond tool bit or a platinum tool bit or something like that. People are going to pay only for the hole that the drill bit, does. Okay. So this concept was first somewhere around 1999 proposed by a management researcher called Anthony Ulrich, and later immortalized by Clayton Christensen in his book on innovation. Okay, I think we have a video. I don't know if this. So Charles, you'll have to tell me if this video is playing okay, or because it's a short video, I don't mind playing it. But if
Let's
it
see if
doesn't
it works.
play well, then I may, stop it and then share it later on.
Give it a try and see if it works, Raj.
Hi, my name's Clay Christensen. I'm a professor at the Harvard Business School. I brought with me a set of puzzles, all related to innovation.
I'm not hearing anything at my end, Raj. I don't know the rest of the audience.
Is it playing well?
Yes, the sound is coming through.
Okay, can you see the video also?
There you go.
Yes.
Yeah, sure. Then let me continue. Okay, it's a very short video. It's just about 3-4 minutes. Oops, sorry.
Hi, my name's Clay Christensen. I'm a professor at the Harvard Business School. I brought with me a set of puzzles, all related to innovation. We decided that the way we teach marketing is at the core of what makes motivation difficult to achieve. The most helpful way we've thought of it so far is that we actually hire products to do things for us. And understanding what job we have to do in our lives for which we would hire a product is really the key to cracking this problem of motivating customers to buy what we're offering. So I wanted just to tell you a story about a project we did for one of the big fast food restaurants. They were trying to goose up the sales of their milkshakes. They had just studied this problem up the gazoo. They brought in customers who fit the profile of the quintessential milkshake consumer. And they'd give them samples and ask, could you tell us how we can improve our milkshakes so you'd buy more of them? Do you want it chocolatey or cheaper, chunky or chewier? They get very clear feedback. They would then improve the milkshake on those dimensions, and it had no impact on sales or profits whatsoever. So one of our colleagues went in with a different question on his mind, and that was, I wonder what job arises in people's lives that cause them to come to this restaurant to hire a milkshake. So we stood in a restaurant for 18 hours one day and just took very careful data. What time did they buy these milkshakes? What were they wearing? Were they alone? Did they buy other food with it? Did they eat it in the restaurant or drive off with it? It turned out that nearly half of the milkshakes were sold before 8 o'clock in the morning. The people who bought them were always alone. It was the only thing they bought, and they all got in the car and drove off with it. So to figure out what job they were trying to hire it to do, we came back the next day and stood outside the restaurant so we could confront these folks as they left, milkshake in hand. And in language that they could understand, we essentially asked, "Excuse me, please, but I got to sort this puzzle out. What job were you trying to do for yourself that caused you to come here and hire that milkshake?" And they'd struggle to answer, so we'd then help them by asking other questions like, "Well, think about the last time you were in the same situation, needing to get the same job done, but you didn't come here to hire a milkshake. What did you hire?" And then as we put all of their answers together, it became clear that they all had the same job to do in the morning, and that is they had a long and boring drive to work. And they just needed something to do while they drove to keep the commute interesting. One hand had to be on the wheel, but somebody had given them another hand and there wasn't anything in it. And they just needed something to do while they drove. They weren't hungry yet, but they knew they'd be hungry by 10 o'clock. So they also wanted something that would just go down there and stay for their morning. Good question. What do I hire when I do this job? You know, I've never framed the question that way before, but last Friday, I hired a banana to do the job. Take my word for it, never hire bananas. They're gone in 3 minutes. You're hungry by 7:30. If you promise not to tell my wife, I'd probably hire donuts twice a week, but they don't do it well either. They're gone fast. They crumb all over my clothes. They get my fingers gooey. Sometimes I hire bagels, but as you know, they're so dry and tasteless. Then I have to steer the car with my knees while I'm putting jam on them. And then if the phone rings, we got a crisis. I remember I hired a Snickers bar once, but I felt so guilty. I've never hired Snickers again. Let me tell you, when I come here and hire this milkshake, it is so viscous that it easily takes me 20 minutes to suck it up that thin little straw. Who cares what the ingredients are? I don't. All I know is I'm full all morning and it fits right here in my cup holder. Well, it turns out that the milkshake does the job better than any of the competitors, which in the customer's minds are not Burger King milkshakes, but it's bananas, donuts, bagels, Snickers bars, coffee, and so on. But I hope you can see how, if you understand the job, how to improve the product becomes just obvious.
Okay, so this is about McDonald's and how they were trying to improve the milkshake. So the typical marketing sense would tell us that people are not buying milkshakes. So how do we improve them? You know, we bring out more flavors or increase the size of the milkshake, or add more fruits to it, or whatever. I mean, we just try to do a product improvement process because that is what we believe, that people are buying products. But here, if you understand the concept, people were not buying the product as a milkshake. They were hiring the milkshake for a certain for a certain job to be done. And that job was, I need something when I'm driving. So the solution that came up was to make the milkshake thicker and the straw thinner. Okay, so that's a very easier way to improve on what the customer is really expecting. Okay, so let us look at some of the things that we ourselves do. And I typically want to get your attention on this concept of higher education. When we were growing up, or when I was growing up, sorry, I mean, you're all young and ready to go people, but when I was growing up, higher education meant a specialization or some more deeper knowledge about a subject. So if you were just a doctor, you could go in for a higher degree and could become a specialist in something like heart specialist or a kidney specialist or something. So higher education was meant to be deeper knowledge of existing systems. Okay, but today what is it? I mean, why? I mean, just look around yourself or in your ecosystem. Why do people do higher education? I mean, is it for knowledge or is it for as a career opportunity? Okay, and you'll realize that higher education today, while the product looks like a knowledge product, it is actually a career product. Okay, that is why universities advertise on how many companies have come up for placements. Universities advertise on what was the placement and who got the highest paid job last year. And that is why you see that the libraries are becoming smaller. Okay, library and the placement offices are becoming bigger. So you go to any university, you will find out that there are more people hanging around the placement cells, because this is what is happening today. Higher education as a product. Okay, nobody is buying the knowledge. Nobody goes to a university and checks who's the professor, what kind of research papers has the professor been there, or who's teaching a particular subject. Nobody. Okay, a parent wants to kindly make sure that if he takes the admission in this particular university, what is the kind of job that his son or daughter will end up getting. And that is applicable to a host of product categories that I've put over here. Today you buy a fancy mobile car not because it has great utility, because it is aspirational in nature. You want to prove to your friends, neighbors, family that you're growing up in life. Okay, and that is why you've bought this fancy mobile phone or a fancy car. Okay, today you go on a foreign holiday. It is not so much of a leisure. It's more like you want to post pictures on social media platforms to show that you have been there. Okay, and holidays are what? I mean, you don't go to Paris to enjoy the weather, or you go there because you want to click a photograph and put it up on your social media, Instagram, Facebook page, and you want to actually count how many people have commented or liked your picture at the Eiffel Tower. And just imagine that if you have posted a picture and nobody has commented or nobody has liked it, you will feel terrible. I mean, you will not enjoy Paris that much, because now your mind will be worried as to why are people not really appreciating the fact that I have gone and watched the Eiffel Tower. So your holiday concept has changed from leisure to social recognition. When you're ordering food online, you really don't care about the taste, because what you're really ordering is not food, you're ordering is convenience. Okay, today Major League Football, if you really look at it, if you look at English Premier League football, it is not so much of sports but so much of an entertainment that is being dished out today. Okay, and fancy dining today has become more of experience rather than the quality of food. Today we buy insurance not as a security product, and that is what an insurance product was supposed to be, but we buy it as a savings product. So what I'm trying to get your attention here is to the fact that the world is not what it seems it is to be. Okay, and we need to be very careful with what is it that we are actually uh, making, and what is it that the customer is really asking us for. Okay, so I'll take a pause over here. Okay, we all have been through the experience of either eating out in a Pizza Hut kind of a place, or ordering pizzas through Domino's pizzas. So I mean, if you look at it, probably 80% of Domino's customers are people who order pizzas, whereas 80% of Pizza Hut customers are people who are coming in to dine at Pizza Hut. The reason is, while both of them look to be serving pizzas, one of them is selling what is called as convenience, and one of them is selling something called as experience. Okay, so two different things. You are the same, customer is the same, but when customer goes to Pizza Hut, it is more of an experience buying, And when you're ordering pizza on the phone, it is more of, convenience buying. So as an organization, if you look at it, Pizza Hut and Domino's Pizza have evolved differently. Okay, Pizza Hut focuses on giving you that experience. So they have excellent interiors. They have a bell if you can ring if you like the service over there. Whereas Domino's has consistently invested in making the deliveries better. Okay, so they look at a lot of automation. They look at how you can cut down the time of delivery, because at the core, both the organizations know that though they are looks like they are selling pizza, okay, they are actually selling two different things. And what do we believe that they are selling pizzas. That is why we want to sell a bigger pizza at a lesser price. And that is actually what kills any enterprise. When you try to compete on a different value proposition than what your competitor is offering, will actually kill you. So if you try to make a better pizza, a bigger pizza, and try and sell it cheaper than Domino's and Pizza Hut, you are going to be the loser, for the simple reason is that it's going to be more expensive for you to make those pizzas, and you are selling it actually at a price which is much lower than what you're doing it. Okay, so the old concept of cheaper, better, faster, that means if I do something cheaper than what my customer is offering, or if I do something better than what my customer is offering, or if I do something faster than what my customer is offering, is dead. Is dead for the simple reason that people have stopped buying products and services. They're merely hiring them, and what they are hiring is nothing but a value proposition. And we will talk about what is a value proposition going forward. I like to take a minute pause over here and see if you have any questions on the discussions that we have had so far. So Charles, maybe if you can just, kind of quickly take a poll on, figure out if there are any questions.
Roger, give me a second. I just want to check into the Q&A here. No questions at this stage, Raj.
Okay, thank you. So anybody who would like to ask a question? Fair enough. So let's move forward. Let's move forward because
sorry, Raj, just before you go forward, I think, guys, if you have a question, just put your hand up, and then we will we'll pause to take your question. So if you've got a question, just put your hand up or post it in the Q&A or on the chat, and then we'll take it from there.
Anyways, okay. So let us move away from the fact that today's customer is really easily classifiable as either a male or a female, or something like that. Very old definition of who's my customer. Everybody is my customer. Okay, I think gone are those days. I think the customer today is a blended personality of what he is and what his social media preferences are, the surroundings in which the customer is being influenced, the kind of media that the customer is accessing. So today a customer is not just a human body manifestation of of a person, but a very blended or a very layered kind of a personality. Okay, so you may see this. I mean, you may see this. I don't know if you observe this, which is a very disturbing trend that sometimes we feel is. I hope it's happening also around you here, because it does consistently happen here. Is that we go into shopping malls, we go into fancy showrooms, we check the check out everything, we wear it and see if it fits and this and how do we look, and then we go and order it from the cheapest, maybe Amazon, and we have something called Flipkart over here, which is a Walmart product. So we do that, right? So that means we are using the physical shop just to check it out, but ordering it from the cheapest source that is available online. So why? Because of a lot of you will tell us that, things have changed. This is what everybody does. That is why I'm also doing it. But fair enough. I mean, if it's a trend, if everybody's going to do that, let them do that. We have to figure out as entrepreneurs, uh, how do we benefit from this? Okay. So one of the ways, one of the first fundamental questions that I think I want all of you to ask yourself is, do I really know my customer well? Okay. And this is a very, very fundamental question. After this talk is over, or whenever, or even at night, if you're going to sit, just think of it like this, that if you were to be given a blank sheet of paper and some colors, uh, would you be able to draw draw how your customer looks like? I mean, do you have a clear picture of what your customer is really about? The demographic part of it. What is the age profile? The geographic, where exactly in the geography will you find it? What is the psychographic and behavioral profiles? What motivates your customers? Is it discounts? Is it quality? Is it customer service? Is it brand influence? Okay. Or is it, religious preferences sometimes to play a very important role in our buying decisions today? Okay. So if you know of I forget the name of a cola, but that cola is very famous in the Middle East region, and it's supposed to be like a counterbalance to Coca-Cola and Pepsi, which is seen as primarily an American product. So because to oppose the American hegemony in the Middle East region because of various conflicts, this particular brand was launched. I forget the name of the cola. Maybe if it comes back, I will tell you about it. But there is this very famous brand that has been launched and that's doing extremely well. Okay. What are watering holes? Watering holes are obvious places around which your customers are aggregating. Okay. For example, ask yourself this very simple question. Do I know my customer so well so as to figure out what would my customer be doing, say, on a Friday evening? Okay. Or what is it that my customer would be working on a Monday morning? Okay. So do you have these deep insights about the customer in your mind? Okay. When you think about it, more importantly, how do you reach out to that customer today? Okay. What are the best channels? Social media is not a channel. Social media is now turning out to be a mass media available on your computer kind of thing. But social media can be fine-tuned fine-tuned to reach out to the customer. So Instagram has that ability to target exactly what your targeted customer profile is, but it's not a communication channel. It's a mass media. I mean, probably 10 years back we could have looked at social media as a uh, as a channel. Okay. So more importantly, can you immerse, empathize with him? And this is what we talk about, that unless you feel exactly like what your customer feels about the problem he or she is facing, you will never be able to kind of get into the mind of the customer and figure out what is it exactly that's on. Because see, no amount, I mean, I don't know if you, as you try doing a survey and ask questions, how many of them would really want to be honest with you and give honest feedback? It doesn't work nowadays. You need to kind of put yourself into the shoes of the customer, immerse, empathize, go through the process yourself to make them feel how it is, and then design. Like they say, design the experience, everything else follows. So you need to exactly understand what the customer does when he's faced with a problem that you are trying to solve. Okay. And that will give you the deeper insight into what your customer really wants. Okay. So this is example, I mean, we ask people, we ask entrepreneurs to prepare something called as a customer persona. Okay. So here you see, this is a persona. I mean, I have kind of personified what my target customer looks like. So I have given her a name. This is all fictitious. The name is fictitious. Probably the picture is also fictitious. But I really need to know as to, what is my customer look like? Okay, what is the short bio of the person? What's the personality type? What are the goals, frustrations? What are the motivations? What kind of technology access does my customer have? What's the kind of brands my customer is, getting influenced with? What is the age profile? What is the demographic profile of the customer? Okay, so this is a typical format of a customer persona that you should look at when you're defining your customer, and that's a very, very important trait. Okay, so let me now quickly take you through one example that I always use, and that example kind of resonates with a lot of people that we talked about. We kind of when this lockdown happened. Sorry, I had to take a glass of water. When this lockdown happened, and we were kind of caught in unawares, in the universities closed, and then slowly the kind of lockdowns have ended now. Universities are slowly starting to open up. I don't know in Africa if it is yet opened up, but India slowly, I mean, not really, we're not going all out to open it. We have just opened it for a certain section, and I think in a month's time we should be able to go back to the campus, or at least 50% of the campus that people are talking. They're talking of alternating classes, so that you have only 50% of the people present at the campus level. So let us look at this very simple business. I'm just using this as a metaphor. If you want to really appreciate it, it's not really something that this is not something what I should say maybe applicable to all of you. But let's for a moment put ourselves into the shoes of let's assume that we are a bunch of college students, and we've looked at this business called as fancy masks. This masks, the usual masks are very boring and dull. Okay, so we thought that maybe the students who are there on campus would prefer something more fancy. So let us look at a quick example of what I'm drawing here is the key learnings today of how to use the lean canvas to define the business model that I want to build. Okay, so the actual session, core part of the session, let us assume starts now, when we look at how do we use tools like the value proposition canvas and the lean canvas to define the business model. So maybe give me about 10 minutes to run you through this process, and then we will kind of wait for some questions. Okay, so here is a business. The students think about setting up something on the campus that will target students to look at designer masks or fancy masks, as we want to call them. Okay, so this is the value proposition canvas. This is a tool. This is a very important tool that looks at what is called as the customer problem fit. Okay, and on your right hand side you see is your customer profile or the customer segment, the one that we discussed about. So who's the customer segment over here? Does everybody on campus will need a fancy mask? I don't think so. I think there are a set of students, okay, a small niche of students who are fashion conscious. Okay, we know them. I mean, they are fashion conscious. They like to come well dressed to the university. They like to carry themselves very well. They have always make sure that their wardrobe is better. Okay, they are not like the typical jeans and some t-shirt. Let me pull out. Where they are very fashion conscious. The bags that they carry, the the overall getup that they have. So if you really look at it, maybe on a campus of 5,000 students, there are about, let's call them 200 students who are, or 300 students who are fashion conscious, and you can actually make them out that they really are classy. And these will form our first core target segment. Okay, we always want to start off something and not trying to do everything for everybody. Okay, so we're not here to make another mask. Okay, another mask that can be found on a department store. We are here to look at something which is very, very specific and targeted, for those fashion conscious people. Okay, so Zara, I mean, I don't know if you know the brand Zara, doesn't look at, people with just ordinary people who want to buy some dresses. They look at people who want to buy real good fashion. Okay, so we are looking at something like a Zara for fashion masks, for masks. Okay, so this is how the value proposition canvas looks like. Okay, on your right hand side, you can see that, this is your customer profile. There are certain jobs that the customer want to be done, and then there are some gains that the customer is expecting. There are some pains that the customer is wanting to avoid. And on your left hand side is your product and service. This is what you're going to be offering, and then you're going to do some gain creators and pain relievers, and make sure that there is a fit. There is a fit between what your customer wants and what you're going to offer. And this is the fitness part of it that's going to happen. Okay. So let us start with the value proposition. What is the core value proposition over here? Is it a mask? Yes. I mean, probably, I mean, at a gross level, it is still a mask. But is it a fashion accessory? Okay. Or is it a mask plus a fashion accessory plus a fashion statement that I want to make, plus a reflection of my personality that is going to happen. So the core way of discovering a value proposition is to write down what is it that you are planning to sell. What is it that the customer is planning buying? What is the problem that the customer, sorry, let me rephrase. What is the job to be done over here, and why is it important for the customer? So what is the job to be done for the customer? We'll come and see it, pardon. If it becomes important, why? It's called as the 1W5I process of doing the core value proposition. Okay, there's a small video, but I don't want to.
About 3.5 years ago.
We will skip the video for the moment because we are really short on time. Okay, so what is the job to be done over here? If you really go and ask the customer, what is it that you want? Okay, I want what is called as, prevent me from getting the virus. I want, wide range of fancy designs to choose from because I'm fashion conscious. I want unisex designs because, I may want to gift it to someone. I want the convenience of, paying online and getting delivered online. Okay. I want something. So the job to be done today, you have to understand, are not very simple. Like I said, the customer is a very complex, multi-layered personality today. Okay. So whenever a customer tells you that I want something, okay, that is called as the functional job. Okay. That means this is something that your product should do. But underneath the functional job, there are social jobs and emotional jobs. And this is a very core concept. I don't know if you can appreciate in this discussion that we are having right now, is that every time I do something, I have two motives. And one is a social motive where I want people to appreciate. Like I said, if I'm going on a holiday, of course I need to go to Paris. Of course I need to see the Eiffel Tower. Of course I need to eat the French cuisine. But beyond that, I also have a social need to be able to put my pictures. And in this case, let us call it Instagram, because, Instagram is very popular with students. So, it should be Instagrammable. It should be something that, I can gift it to my friends. This is my social job. I don't only want a mask that looks good on me. I also want to have a mask that when I put it on Instagram, a lot of my people are going to be liking it. So that's a social part of the job. And beneath that, please understand, here we are dealing with millennials. Okay, millennials are people who have been born in the current millennium, in the last 20 years. I mean, I have a son at home and a daughter at home who are millennials, and their mind works very differently from the way I look at things. Of course, you can call it, generation gap, but at the end of the day, the way they look at buying a product and the way I may be looking at buying a cheap product, or why spend so much money, and why do we do it? They are not so much thinking from the money aspect part of it, but they have a lot of other uh, you know uh, reasons for buying the product. And one of the reasons could be emotional, because my daughter, she's a vegan, okay, so she doesn't like the concept that you hurt animals, and to take and feed yourself part of it. So she feels very strongly about her love for animals. Today's generation likes to look at the concept that, and this is very, very important what I'm trying to talk to you about, because if you have a customer segment that you're targeting here, which is the millennials or something like that, you will have to be completely aware that it is not just that they are just not looking at the functional part of the job. There is a social job and there is an emotional job that they are looking at. Okay. So what are the things that they love? They would have loved to have is, I would have loved if the masks were medically certified. I would have also loved that fact that, the masks were washable and reusable. I would not want you to tell me that, there are only limited stocks. I would definitely not want it to be of poor quality cloth and color, because I am fashion conscious. I buy stuff which people appreciate. I am the fashion icon on my campus. So people are going to look at what I'm buying. So don't sell me something which is cheap. This defines the product category. This should define where you should think about in terms of pricing. Is it just another mask? Do you want to make it cheaper than what is available in the market, or are you creating a premium kind of a product over here? Okay. So this is what comes out as a product with, designs, people wearing that. And if you really look at it, these are already available. I don't know. I mean, in India, we already have a lot of people now selling fancy designer masks over here. Sorry, I was just looking at a video. Sorry about that. I was just looking out for a video that we had made of this fancy mask over here. Okay, so this is what the value proposition part of the design is. Okay, trying to understand that people are not buying masks, people are buying a fashion statement, people are willing to pay a premium for uh, what they are wanting to do in life, and people just want it to be different. People want it to make a difference in everybody's life as to what they are doing over here. So forget those a dull blue and green mask. Welcome to the world of fashionable mask. Okay. So what are the key learnings that we have had till now? That customers pay for value. Customers pay for what is called as jobs to be done over here. Customers have certain pains and gains that they want to express, but they are not able to express. So you as entrepreneurs need to, figure it out for yourself as to what is it that the customers is really wanting to avoid and will be happy getting about it. So those are the pain and the gain elevators. Okay, so before we move on to the concept of business model, because business model is actually nothing but the trick of how will you make money in your business. And that trick is something that, can become very obvious when you look at your business of not selling as a product, but look at your business as the one that is delivering value, okay, to your target customer, okay, through the value proposition canvas. So the value proposition canvas basically helps us do that. So there are some very traditional business models that we know of. Trading is one, manufacturing, distribution, retailing, e-tailing, if you want to, call it, because internet, if you're selling things on the internet, then there is something called as a click and a mortar business model, which is you can buy something on online, but you need to go and take the delivery of it through a physical store. White labeling is a very powerful emerging business model. Chinese companies did a lot of it. They became, so if you know of a company called Foxconn, okay, Foxconn does all the manufacturing for Apple, and also does a lot of white labeling for other brands of mobile phones today. It's a Taiwanese company, uh, very big, okay, but doesn't have a brand of its own. It's only specialized in making products that somebody else can brand and sell it on its own. Outsourcing, India has done a good job. A lot of work for large IT companies globally is now getting outsourced to India. So we are like the outsourcing capital for the world of software development. Whereas you go to Philippines and Thailand, a lot of call center work is getting outsourced over there. So these are some of the traditional business models that we talk about. Here we have some new business models that are coming up. Platform business model is very simple. You have buyers on one end, sellers on other end, and you just create a platform where people can transact with each other. Aggregator is a great business model, wherein, if you look at Uber, it's nothing but an aggregator business model. That means you take a lot of people who have cars and who are willing to become drivers, and just aggregate them, and then you aggregate the customer demand and then create a platform for that. Okay, so crowdsourcing is a great business model today, especially when it comes to fundraising. Okay, so One Drop is a company that specializes in converting saline water to potable water. Okay, and it's a great example of funded through a crowdsourced kind of a funding. Okay, philanthropy is a great business model. If you look at it, large companies today use philanthropy uh, as a model to get and reach out to the lower section of the society, so that they can build a certain amount of empathy, and from there they try to make a business model out of it. Okay, so what is this? This is the simplest definition of a business model. You have a customer persona in the center. Okay, there is a value proposition that the customer wants to buy. There are some key resources that you need to deploy. This could be in the form of technology, or this could be in the form of per certain processes. You have a profit formula, which is how you make money out of it, and of course you keep on measuring this constantly as a mechanism, and that is what business model is all about. So the business model that we talk about at Wadhwani Foundation is a business model called as Lean Canvas, which I'm sure a lot of you would have heard it, or maybe you have heard of something called as a business model canvas. So let me give you a brief background. The business model canvas has been popularized by a gentleman called as Alexander Osterwalder. Okay, so if you've heard of the business model canvas, it's Alexander Osterwalder who has propagated it. It comes from the lean startup principles. If you have seen Eric Ries and other fellows talk about what is called as the lean startup principle. So they're all interconnected. The concepts are fairly interconnected. What we chose as a better or a refined model for understanding business models was the lean canvas methodology. Because for an early stage startup, I think the lean canvas is a very good tool. Okay, so what does the lean canvas do? Lean canvas is nothing but a block of 9 chains. 9 blocks. Sorry, not blockchain. Sorry. This is a diagram with 9 blocks over here. You need to only just figure out how do you fill it up, and this is like a map that you can put it up in your office at any point of time, because nothing is permanent. You will see on the lean canvas as a tool. lean canvas is an ever evolving document. So our suggestion to all entrepreneurs is to look at this format, and put it up on your wall, and then figure out what are the things that are changing. Okay, and the best way to do it is print it out on a large format paper. Use post-it kind of a thing, the sticky notes, and keep on sticking them up on the walls as and when you discover new things about it. So let me quickly take you through the nine blocks of the lean canvas. Okay, so focus on it. On your left hand side, you see the problem box. This is nothing but your jobs to be done. Okay, what you discovered in the value proposition canvas as jobs to be done. For example, in this case, let us say I want a mask. I want a mask that is fashionable. I want a mask that is medically certified. I want a mask that is washable. I want a mask that comes in different colors and different designs. So this is nothing. The problem block is nothing but the definition of what the customer wants as jobs to be done. And exactly on the opposite side, you have this customer segments. Okay, what a customer segment? Segments is a wrong term. Segment is the fashionable. Okay, who's my customer? My customer is a student on my campus, both males and females. He or she are fashion conscious. They hate the concept of using ordinary masks. They want masks that will go well with their personality. They are willing to pay a premium to get the masks that they are looking for. Okay, and they are keen to look at masks which they can gift to their friends or put it up on Instagram. So this is what my customer segment is. So two parts you are very clear in your mind. The jobs to be done. Sorry, the jobs to be done over here, and the customer segment that we talked about. What is your solution? Your solution is simple. Your solution is the mask that you have designed, the various colors. So maybe you have hired some designers, some fashion designers or something like that. What is the unique value proposition that you are selling? You are not selling a mask. You are selling a fashion accessory on campus in the times of Corona. Okay, that is the value proposition. Don't use the word mask. Okay, don't use the word mask. You are not a mask seller, because if you're going to be a mask seller, people are going to compare you with other masks and say, oh, he's selling it so cheap. Why are you selling masks? Say, I am not a mask seller. I am a fashion accessories for campus students who are fashion conscious in Corona times. Okay, that is your value proposition. What is the unfair advantage that you have? Unfair advantage is probably that you are probably the first one who's selling it on campus, or you're probably, you have some great designers, or probably you understand the taste of, the people very well. That is your unfair advantage that you have while dealing with, your customers. Please remember, unfair advantage doesn't remain unfair for a very long period of time. Okay, so it is those small walls that you can build around the business, but eventually competition will creep up and those unfair advantages will change. So maybe 6 months down the line, there may be 3 more people who are selling exactly like what you're doing. And in that case, your unfair advantage will be that you already have 1,000 customers. Okay, so that unfair advantage keeps on changing as you go forward. So nothing remains. I mean, unless of course it's like your personal patent or something that, trademark, or something that's a trade secret, or something, a secret sauce that you have, no unfair advantage remains unfair for a very long period of time. Okay. So how many blocks have we cleared? Problem, customers, unique solution, unique value proposition, unfair advantage. Look at the channels. How will you sell them? Simple. Of course, you'll create probably an app, or you will put it up on Instagram, or you will put it up on Facebook, or you will set up a small store on the campus, or you will distribute it, through friends and relative, through friends and friends of friends. Okay, so these are the channels that you're going to reach out to your customers. Okay, so this is very clear. How many blocks? Problem, customer segments, solution, unique value proposition, unfair advantage, and channels. Now let us come down to revenue streams. What are your revenue streams going to be? Your revenue streams are obviously, the first revenue stream is going to be, the sale of masks. Okay, so that is going to be a primary revenue stream, and secondary revenue stream is probably somebody needs some customization, or the college sports team needs a college sports logo. The college wants to set up some masks. If you see in the earlier examples, this is a school in India, and they have put up their logo on the mask so that the students know exactly that the school is. So maybe that is your secondary revenue stream, is advertising on the mask. Okay, what are your cost structures? Cost structures are obviously, you have to either import the mask or you have to manufacture the mask. Okay, you will need some amount of money in creating media campaigns. Some amount of money will be used for distribution. Some amount of money will be given away as discounts. Okay, so these are your cost structures. Okay, and what are the key metrics in a lean canvas? Key metrics are those measurements that you are going to use to make sure that your business is on track. For example, you are obviously going to track sales, yeah, but you are more importantly, you are going to track how many of the customers are putting it up on Instagrams, how many likes your customers are getting. You may want to create a small video channel where your customers talk about how good they felt buying your mask. So how many likes you got for those videos? How many times have you been mentioned in social media conversations on the campus? Okay, that is a great metric today. Okay, if I'm selling something on campus, I would like to know how many people are talking about me. And it's very simple. There are tools you can use to figure them out. So this is what makes up the 9 blocks of of the lean canvas. I would strongly recommend that you watch a video. The lean canvas was again popularized by a gentleman called as Ash Maurya. Okay, and you can look up lean canvas Ash Maurya. There are a lot of YouTube videos that where Ash himself talks about how to use the lean canvas as a tool to capture value. So given the limited time that we had today for our discussion, I thought that I will introduce you to the concept of lean canvas and on how to compute value. I would like to take this opportunity also to kind of uh, talk about what is changing in the post-corona time. So people are talking about the new normal. People are saying that things may not be the same what it was in 2019, and the world has changed forever. Okay, so here is a big next maybe about 5 minutes or so. I will take you through what I see as the crystal ball gazing, of what is going to happen into the future. And this is, don't hold it for me or against me. I am not a futurologist, or I am not somebody who think can predict the future. It is from the place that I am sitting, or from the view that I have of talking to people. Wadhwani Foundation, if you know, is in about 25 countries. So I get the opportunity to talk to people across this 25 countries, and this is what has been my view on what is going to happen. So maybe as entrepreneurs, this is going to be very interesting for you for the next 5 minutes. Okay. So what is this new normal? I think that the new normal will define the way in which me is the new we. When I say this, me is the new we, I think today everybody appreciates the fact that irrespective of what happens, I need to be safe myself. So it is no longer about my family or about my community or about my friends or about my family, relatives, and all that. I need to be safe. So today, whether, I mean, I may have a great family at home, all the love of family at home, which is all fine. But today, I am more concerned that when I go out, okay, I have to make myself safe. So everything is going to be in future more about me rather than we. Okay, so this is my first prediction of what it is. Our homes have become new stores. So if you really look back, what has happened is we have this paranoia that is the new value proposition. What is paranoia? Paranoia is not fear. It's paranoia is probably the fear of the unknown. Okay, so we have become paranoid about going anywhere. We have become paranoid about touching something. We become paranoid about what food we are consuming. We are becoming paranoid about meeting friends in social settings. Okay, so home has become the new store. I'm storing a lot of stuff today because I don't know this lockdown. I mean, I don't know how severe it was in your countries, but here in this part of the world where we are, and by the way, we have a dubious reputation of probably being the second largest corona affected country, in the whole world. We are close to about, I think, 6.7 million or 7 million infected people in our country. Now, for a country with 1.3 billion people, looks like a very small number. But when you look at absolute numbers, we are like 7 million infected people, and that's a big number. So what has happened is I've started buying more stuff and storing them in my house. Okay. And this is probably happening with a lot of people because you don't know what is going to happen. So whether if you're buying milk, now you're suddenly buying, 2 packets of milk because you don't know tomorrow, suddenly there could be a lockdown. So if you're buying a packet of noodles, now you're buying 5 packets of noodles just to make sure that, you don't run out of supplies. You must have seen this kind of a behavior that has happened. So we are now using our home as the new store. Okay, our home is becoming like a mini store. Okay, and technology is cutting both ways. It is helping us keep safe, at the same time it is distracting us from the work. How many times in a day nowadays we check mobile just to see what is the news, what is happening with the weather, what is happening here, what is happening there. So okay, so it's becoming distraction. So going forward, what does this mean? Going forward, it means that personalization, and I'm going to talk about a bit of technology over here. Personalization, identity, okay, these are going to be key things. Okay, your personal data is going to be very, very important. Okay, you will have to look at businesses where there is remote collaboration. Okay, you'll have to look at something called as contactless contacts. Today, people are talking of 3D printing and delivering material without human intervention. Okay, so maybe if a product is there that you can deliver directly to the customer. Okay, without human touch interaction. That is going to be important. So remote, people are going to become islands. People are going to be separated out, and still business will have to be done. A lot of things will depend on validation and recommendation today. Okay, so whether it's a new movie that is getting released or a new restaurant that is getting opened up, okay, you're not going to go out and be that carefree and let me go and check it. You'll have to actually figure out on some validation and recommendation, to be able to go out and do that, because your paranoia, as I said, is the new value proposition that we are talking about. Okay, so when it comes to health, and I'm going to talk about 5 product categories, and 5 product categories that are going to be changing for a lot of it. One is your personal health and wellness. Okay, so your personal data, which was supposed to be confidential and stuff like that, is no longer going to be personal, because you will need remote monitoring. You will need a doctor on help. So you product that you see over here on the right hand side, it's a product called as Boki in India, known as Boki. It's a band that you wear on your hand, and that band practically tracks every bit of breath from your body. Okay, so whether it's your heartbeat, whether it's your body temperature, so everything. So if you're going to be having a fever, and you can program it in such a way that it will immediately on a telemedicine mode, inform your doctor or inform your office that you are having fever. Okay, so your what was a personal health data is no longer personal health today. Okay, and that is worrisome to a certain extent, but also needed to a certain extent, because now at the airports, if you go, and I'm again talking of India, and they won't allow you inside, even though you have a valid ticket. They won't allow you inside till your health parameters are confirmed, as per their standards. So we have a health parameter app that everybody needs to download, and that app definitely needs to monitor your body vitals. That is actually checked before they allow you entry into the airport. So, I mean, this is a completely different world that we are looking in. Maybe in 2019, I would never share my personal medical details, but in 2020 and going forward, it is going to be an open data. So you're going to have home gym equipments, because gymnasiums are not supposed to be, kind of a great place. You will have some AI assisted personal wellness gear. And these are products which are, by the way, already there in the market. So I'm not talking of something which is, in the future. Education, we all know, has changed tremendously. We are going to now have large online universities, probably remote assisted learning, AR, VR games for experiential learning. Because, if the students are not going to be going to colleges, how do they do experiential learning? Okay, so you probably AR and VR are going to be the key drivers of experiential learning. There is an organization called CMAST in India, which is now teaching doctors surgery online. Now, this is something that you had unheard of. Doctors were supposed to be actually practicing on, on patients and learning surgery. But now CMAST has developed techniques and technologies in which they claim to, teach surgery online. Okay, so as a difficult subject like surgery is also getting affected by it. Your houses have become, it's a combination of your restaurant plus gym plus movie theater, plus local, pub. You are having virtual parties. People will stop now having pets because pets are very infectious. So you look at, pets which are robotic pets. You have tools like House Party. I don't know if you use them, but most of our family gatherings now are happening remotely on House Party. I told you about contactless deliveries. Amazon Prime is already perfecting a technique by which they can deliver food without human contact, to your place. Okay. So this is what is, coming into your homes nowadays, climate control rooms, UV light sanitizers, which you can use. Okay. Edible cutlery. Okay. So that you don't need to wash and use them. Okay. And this is a ionizer device in which you bring vegetables from the local market and put them in a bowl over here, and put them in a bowl over here, and it gets it cleaned. Okay. So of course, governance is changing, banking is changing. A lot of money nowadays is becoming digital in nature. We are talking of something called as contactless banking. Government is now encouraging people to pay all their taxes online. Okay. Food and dining, as we know, is changing. Restaurants are now becoming something called as a post-COVID ready. Okay, most of the restaurants are moving to something called as cloud kitchens. Okay, where you don't really need restaurant spaces, but you can have the same food delivered directly to your home. Home cooking kits are becoming very, very important. That means there is ready to cook. I mean, you can see over here, this is nothing but home cooking foods. You know, all the ingredients come packed, and then there is a QR code. You scan the QR code, it takes you to YouTube. On YouTube, there is an instructor who actually tells you how to make your favorite chicken or how to make your favorite lamb. And, you know, you can just cook the same food at home over there. Leisure and entertainment, we have, you know, virtual music brands, people sitting in their own homes and creating music. We have empty stadium tournaments. So if you really look at English Premier League football, that is happening in empty stadiums over here, with what gives you a feeling as if there are, you know, spectators out there. Online casinos, you know, fantasy league sports is huge business that is happening. Okay, so this is what I thought I would quickly spend some time with you guys. It's a very longish session, I know. We can have more discussions on it probably, but going forward, I thought that, you know, we should look at what Rahm Emanuel is, an American satirist and a politician. He said, as an entrepreneur, you should never let a serious crisis go to waste. Okay. So if you look at Corona as a crisis, then you don't let it go to waste. Make the best out of this opportunity before somebody else does. Thank you so much. This is the new handshake, you know, that we use now. We don't shake hands. So thank you, and let us open up for questions. I don't know, was this discussion helpful? Was I able to make some difference to your thinking? What is it? I mean, I am open. I know we have almost ran out of time, but I'm here. So, Charles, would you like to kind of moderate and, you know, ask for some questions?
Hello.
Yes, yes, sir. Go ahead, ma'am.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, thank you very much for the presentation. This is Leah. It's a lady, not a gent.
Hi, Leah. Carry on with your question. Sorry about that. I think the quality is just a bit bad. But
okay.
Please ask your
so my question is, you talked about the period where you get into where the unfair advantage has elapsed and it keeps on changing. So you do not have it, that many people have joined the business that you've been doing. So how do I get to keep my business like running and better, even when my unfair advantage is gone?
So you will
That's my question.
Yeah. So what happens is the lean canvas is a dynamic document. Okay. You will realize as you keep on doing your business, your customer profile, your customers, you know, actually a lot of things change. Channels change for that matter. So to that extent, every block on the lean canvas is a dynamic, in the sense it's going to change. It can never be static. Your costs are going to change. Your pricing is going to change. Okay. So to that extent, even your unfair advantage, what you have today, unless, like I said, unless there is a patent or, you know, something that only you can do, something that, you know, it's like, you know, secret sauce. Unless you have a secret
recipe.
Secret recipe, yes, secret sauce or mama's, you know, secret recipe, people will figure out. So you will have to grow. Maybe, you know, you expand. Maybe you are able to raise money faster. Maybe you are able to open more stores, or maybe you are able to reach out to more customers. Maybe you set up a great marketing, machinery that is better than your competitor. So your unfair advantage always have to keep on changing. You have to be paranoid about it. You'll have to, look at it constantly and say, what is it that I can do it better, so that, nobody catches up with me. And that is what the riding the lion is all about, right?
Okay. Thank you very much.
So when you're riding a lion, you can't be, you can't be falling asleep.
It's not the right time to fall asleep on the back of a lion.
Yeah.
Raj, any last statement from your side? I think we've overrun our time a little bit, but any last words from you?
It's wonderful. I would encourage everyone to look at the lean canvas. Make a lean canvas for your own respective businesses. A very important document. It is like as important as keeping your financial statements, I say, because eventually tomorrow, if you are to go out and raise money, or seek some investments, most investors are going to ask for your lean canvas. So it's a very, very important document, probably as important as your financial statements or your bank statements. So every entrepreneur should have a lean canvas for their business. I mean, I don't know of any business today that has grown successfully without having its own business model canvas present at all points of time. So these are my parting words, Charles.
Raj, thanks a lot. Thank you for sharing your insight, your expertise. And thank you to all our participants. We're going to have a small poll at the end of this. So just 1 or 2 questions for everybody to just give us your feedback. But Raj, thanks again for your time and your dedication to this. And you're always there for us. And we really appreciate you. And thanks a lot. And